Hi, welcome back to Adams Automotive. Today we're working on this 1995 F250. This is my girlfriend's truck. It's powered by the 7.3 Power Stroke. Today we got some tint. This is 5%. It comes from like O'Reilly's or AutoZone and it works pretty good. This is what's on my red truck and it used to be on my old 86 F250. This same stuff and the 20% is on this truck right now, which I don't know, this is up front. You guys probably can't see that well because the lift's in the way. But back here on this 95, we have the back two middle windows already done. And I'm on time lapse doing the back side windows and these little windows just because it's hard to get to. But I'll show you guys how to do it on the front ones. So if you come back here, you kind of have to get the side angle because of sun glare. We'll pull it outside when we're all done and show you guys how it's done. Alright, as you guys seen, you watch a time lapse, you're getting this window done. There's always going to be, well, not always going to be, but you can't really pick it up on camera. There's these tiny little bubbles. That's just because it's fresh tint. As soon as we pull it outside and let it sit in the sun for like 3 or 4 days, it'll be perfect. So I'm going to time lapse this one really quick. And like I was saying, especially on these power windows, don't roll your windows down for at least 3 to 4 days to let all that soap and water evaporate. And it helps the tint stick to the window better. Because if you roll it down right away, it will strip the tint down and you have to restart. But as you guys can see, this tint's looking good. So we'll time lapse this one and probably these side ones, and I'll kind of break it down to you on these big ones. As you guys just seen, I time-lapse putting this other back window in. Now we have the full back done. We're gonna do side windows next. This was about 1 roll to do all that. Usually it does about 2 rolls, I think, to do a whole truck, but I might be mistaken and we have to go get some more. I don't remember. So we have these side windows next, which I'll probably time-lapse too, just because it's hard. But when I do these side ones, you know, I can have somebody standing here while I do it and I can explain it to you. But for what tools I'm using, this just is a normal spray bottle. It's got Dawn dish soap and water in it. You want soap in there because it helps the tint slide around and not stick right away. But you don't want too much soap. You know, you don't want to dump a whole bunch of soap in there and not have any water. I don't know the exact dilution or how much you have to put in there or whatever. But kind of just something you learn over doing it so many times is how much soap you need. And that lasts you, I mean, this is like the second time I filled this up and I've done a lot of windows. And then I have, these are just some Bondo applicators, whatever you want to call these. These ones are a little flimsy for my liking. They'd be really good for body work and getting your filler in there, but they're a little bit weak for tint. So you want to get something like this, but maybe a little stronger. As you guys can see, these ones bend pretty easy. And I just go to the local hardware store and get these break off box cutters. These ones are like $2 a piece. They're pretty small and you get a lot of blades in there. They're good because if it gets dull, you can break them right off, but also some of these cuts you have to get kind of in there further and you can extend the blade to where you can reach a little better. So we'll get these side ones done on time lapse. I'll probably do one or maybe both just so the video don't get too long and you kind of don't need to say the same thing twice, but then I'll explain these ones. Hopefully you guys can hear me over this truck. It has an exhaust leak right in the downpipe, so it's kind of loud. But as you guys can see, freshly tinted. I mean, it takes quite a bit to be able to see through there. Here's me. But as you guys see them streaks on the window, that's just the water. It kind of looks like crap right now, but if you park it out in the sun for a couple days, all that dries up, and then it'll look a lot better. I mean, if I had my truck here, my truck's not here right now because we drove this one over to my house, but it goes away and it looks a lot better. So we're gonna go grab, this is 2 rolls so far we used there, and here we have, this is only like half the roll. We have enough to do 1 window and both these triangles, but we didn't want to drive to town with just 1 window untinted, so we're gonna go pick up a 3rd roll just so we can get both big windows done. And yeah, so that's that. So we're gonna head to town really quick, pick up some tint, and we'll be back to finish the job. All right, so we had to get some help normally to peel the backing off, because the tint comes with like this clear backing. So a lot of guys on the internet, let me get this started before it falls off. But a lot of guys on the internet put it on the outside and they trim it on the outside and then put it on the inside. I don't do that. I just cut a square big enough for the window. As you guys can see all the excess around here. They try to avoid that because sometimes you can get missing corners or whatever. So really what you do is you wet the window and the surrounding area with your solution. And then you peel the backing back and you put the tint on there and use your squeegee or whatever you want to call this. And you work the center of the window and you want to get the bubbles out, really is what you're trying to do. But you're also just trying to get it all the way around the window. And see how like I can't go any farther? Sometimes you have to peel it off the door so it sticks to the window instead of the door, which is why we spray around the door and everything. It just helps the tint last longer so you can work with it. It's kind of like when you put hardener in your Bondo, you put more or less depending what you're doing. The more water you put, the slipperier the tint will be. So if you have to adjust it, or if you have to like peel it off the windows, you want to put more water, which I always douse it. And then you don't have to do that. It just really helps. I wouldn't recommend not doing that. Like right here, you got to peel it off the top. Oh, it's folded on, so sometimes it happens. As long as it doesn't happen in the middle of the window, otherwise it'll leave a crease. And a crease will have a bubble trapped in it, and it's hard to get out. So we're gonna just push it all the way up to the edges. And they're not gonna be perfect right now, especially in the rounded corners. On these square windows like this, you can push it all the way up to the edge and not worry about it. But with these rounded corners, they're a little bit harder. And like that Chevy up there, when I did that, you roll the window down a little bit because the seals are different. You'd be able to see where I cut it if I didn't roll it down. But since these the seals are the same on the inside and out, I can just have the window rolled all the way up, tuck it up in there and cut it, and you won't be able to see a gap on the outside. So now we're just gonna work some of the bubbles out of it before we start trimming. All right, now we're gonna take our blade, and usually I start on a flat, like I don't usually start in the top because it has a lot of corners, which I guess it's all the same because there's 4 corners, but usually I start in the bottom or one of the sides. And really I just try to tuck it right down in there in the seal almost, and then I just cut right along the seal, and that's how I do it. All right, so I finished up the driver's side here. Everything went good except there's a little, as you guys can see that right there. So I'm gonna be redoing this window probably tomorrow off camera just because I want it to be perfect. Because I've done this a few times, so first time that wouldn't be bad. But since I've done this so many times, I kind of want it to be better. Got the little smoker windows done. I mean, this thing's tinted out. During the day, you won't be able to see through the shield very much just because all the side windows are blocked off. If it was light out, I'll pull it outside for you. Maybe I'll get a clip tomorrow. But we got it all finished up. Nice tint out. This is 5% tint all the way around it except for on the shield. Eventually, we're probably going to get a strip done, but I don't know how to do that, so I probably should pay somebody.